My friends, there is a peculiar ache that every honest soul encounters, not merely in religion but in life itself. It is the desire to hear, to be heard, to receive a word not merely from the mouths of men but from the heart of the Creator. And so we cry, often in our most private hour, "Lord, I want to hear you." But what does this mean, and why do we so often feel that the heavens are silent? Let us not imagine that our silence is evidence of His absence. To say, "I do not hear Him," is not to say He is not speaking. It may well mean, and often does, that we are not listening with the right ears. For God's voice is not in the wind or the earthquake alone. It may be there, yes, but more often it is in the stillness that follows when all the noise we manufacture has finally exhausted itself. We must not confuse divine communication with human convenience. If we believe that God will speak only when we have time, only when we are in a suitable mood, we have reduced the infinite to our calendar. God is not a secretary to our schedule. He speaks not always when we wish, but always when we need, though we often know it only in retrospect. You say, "I want to hear Him." I say, "So do I." But let us examine the heart of that longing. Why do you want to hear Him? Is it to be reassured, to be comforted? Or is it simply to avoid the terrifying loneliness of silence? I suggest to you that the desire to hear God is not a weak craving. It is a dangerous prayer. For when He speaks, He changes things, and not always according to our preferences. Indeed, the real reason we do not hear Him is often this. Deep down, we fear what He might say. We want confirmation, not confrontation. We want His voice to echo our desires, not alter our direction. But let us remember, His voice, when it comes, will never flatter us into complacency. It will break before it builds. It will wound before it heals. It will humble before it exalts. It is not the voice of a human counselor. It is the voice that once spoke light into darkness and calls dead men from their tombs. So then, how do we hear Him? First, be still, not merely outwardly, but inwardly. Our minds are a constant churn of ambition, worry, comparison, noise, and the stillness required is not just the absence of sound, but the presence of surrender. Second, be honest. He is not fooled by eloquent prayers or pious language. Speak to Him plainly. He understands our groans better than our grammar. Say, "Lord, I am lost. I want to hear you, not a projection of my mind, not the echo of my culture, you." And third, be willing to act on what He says, for God rarely speaks into a heart that refuses obedience. He is not interested in satisfying curiosity. He is intent on forming character. You may not hear Him today. You may not hear Him tomorrow. But if the desire persists, if it deepens rather than fades, then take heart. That desire itself is a sign. Not all silence is absence. Sometimes it is preparation. In the end, the soul that longs to hear God is already being spoken to. For no one longs for what they have never known unless a trace of it already lingers in them. He is not silent. He is not absent. He is speaking still. The question is not whether He will speak. The question is whether we will be quiet enough, humble enough, and brave enough to listen. Desire is not a random emotional flicker. It is often a signpost pointing beyond ourselves. The deep yearning to hear God, to be close to something greater than mere existence, is not born of illusion or self-deception. It arises from something already woven into the fabric of the soul. When one says, "I want to hear you, Lord," it is not simply the product of upbringing, fear, or tradition. It is the echo of something eternal already whispering within. C.S. Lewis often argued that every longing we experience corresponds to some real object that can fulfill it. We feel hunger, there is food. We feel thirst, there is water. So too, the desire to hear the divine suggests that such a voice exists to be heard. That kind of desire is not manufactured. One does not wake up and decide to crave God as one craves a cup of tea. This desire often comes uninvited, catching us off guard in moments of quiet or suffering, in awe at beauty, or even during personal failure. It is a sign that we are more than the material, that something within us reaches beyond what our senses can grasp. Lewis spoke of this as the inconsolable longing, a desire nothing in the world can satisfy. That longing is not meaningless. It is not an evolutionary misfire or poetic decoration. It is evidence that we were made for something beyond the visible world. The voice of God does not always thunder. It often arrives as a gentle ache, a longing for meaning, for presence, for connection. That very ache is part of how he speaks. Just as a homing instinct draws a bird across continents, the human heart is drawn by that inner signal, reaching toward the voice behind all things. It is this desire that gives rise to prayer, to worship, to the refusal to settle for a silent universe. Those who do not care whether God speaks are rarely the ones who hear him, but those who long, ache, plead, and wait. They are already tuning themselves to the frequency of the divine. Even in times of spiritual dryness, when no answer comes and the soul feels abandoned, the persistence of the desire to hear him is itself a sign that he is near. One does not miss what one has never known unless some memory, some trace, has already been imprinted upon the heart. That faint memory may come from childhood, from a moment of beauty or pain, from a story or a song, but wherever it comes from, it carries weight. It suggests we have heard something before, and we are desperate to hear it again. So when someone says, "I want to hear you, Lord," they are not inventing a need. They are responding to something already at work inside them. That desire is not empty. It is not madness. It is the evidence of a voice, not yet fully heard, but already calling.